7 o'clock, we will call the town board meeting of February 3rd to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I believe we have some amendments to it.
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, please submit supplemental information to 8A, ordinance number 33, to sign sign ordinance amendment.
And then we also have a issue with consent agenda item 5.
No, don't do that until we get to consent, and then we will pull.
All right. Okay, hearing that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval of payment of the bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes of January 22nd, 2020. Any additions, deletions?
I saw none. Move to approve.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. All right. Item 5 is the consent agenda. Normally, we just look for a motion to approve unless there's an issue to pull an item off, and I gather we have one.
Yes, Mr. Chair, actually, we have two, both for clarification's sake. Pull 5A and 5B for discussion by the board. You can motion to approve the 5C, D, E, and F, and we can discuss A and B thereafter.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent
All
agenda?
right, I will move to approve the amended consent agenda.
A second?
Second.
Motion's made second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, going to item 5A.
Mr. Chair, under 5A, special town board meeting, just clarifying, it has been posted for 6 PM. Your materials that were submitted with your agenda packet say 6:30, but it is actually a 6 PM start time for 5A. So you really don't have to adjust anything on your agenda, just clarifying with what was submitted.
All right, so I need a motion to approve consent agenda 5A, noting the 6 AM start time, or 6 PM start time.
I'm not going to 6 AM.
I will move to approve the amended consent item 5A, noting that it is at 6 PM.
I'll second that.
Motion's made second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. And then consent agenda item 5B.
Mr. Chair, the Board of Audit was scheduled to coincide on the same day as your executive board meeting, which is typically held on the fourth Friday of each month, which would have been February 28th this year. However, with a variety of other schedule conflicts, we've decided to amend that to the 21st, that executive board committee, and we'd like to have the Board of Audit coincide with that meeting on the 21st as well.
I'll move to approve that change.
I will second that.
Motion's made second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? All right, moving on. Item 6 is old business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This is the Water Gremlin building permit update. Patrick, you want to just give an overview, and then maybe I'll have our building inspector go over what's being asked?
Sure. Mr. Chair, just in light of the situation at Water Gremlin over the last year, we felt that it was probably prudent to have discussion of building permit on our agenda so that our building inspector could respond to any questions that might come up from the public regarding the current project or application for a building permit. I don't see anybody from the public here to speak to that on the agenda, though, so I'm not sure.
Well, I think for public record and for the residents, I'd like to have Mike at least come up and review what their application involves.
The town has received requests for building permits for improvements to the Water Gremlin facility. The project is proposed in 3 phases. The first phase of the project is to relocate some manufacturing from their facility at 4400 Otter Lake Road be relocated to the south campus at 4316 Otter Lake Road. Some machinery and manufacturing processes. That permit is been reviewed by the building department and the fire department, and the town is ready to issue that permit. Phase 2 of the project is temporary structures located at 4400 Otter Lake Road. The temporary structure is proposed for lead hygiene for the employees to decontaminate any lead from the plant. After phase 2 is operational, there'll be a phase 3, which will be a complete remodel of the existing locker room, expanding that locker room and putting their lead hygiene requirements into permanent action at the plant. We just received an application for the second phase of the project. We're currently, the fire department and building department are reviewing that, and would expect to issue that permit in the next week to 2 weeks, somewhere in that time frame. Like I said, the town will be issuing 3 separate permits, a building permit for each phase of that construction, along with the plumbing, all the separate mechanical permits that are required for the construction there.
All right, so to be clear, Mike, there will be no additions to any of the buildings. This is all done internally.
Phase 1 is all within the existing structure on the south campus. Phase 2 would be a temporary structure in the northeast parking lot. Be visible from Whitaker Street.
And as we discussed before, there's, I believe, a 180-day time limit on that structure?
That is what the applicant has requested, a 180-day temporary permit.
Do we want to put that in the permit?
Chad, we had discussed this. Is it something that should be spelled out in the permit itself and given a date from the issuance of the permit?
Considering the fact that it's classified as a temporary structure, yeah, you should set a sunset date on the permit, on the structure itself, actually.
Okay, and you'll be issuing that permit sometime this week?
We are reviewing that. It's under review now, but in a couple weeks' time would be a normal process of the building permit.
And then you're confident that all your requirements are being met? Fire safety, health, safety, welfare, the whole works?
So I can only speak to phase 1 of this project at this point.
Okay.
And that's relocation of the coining operation into the south campus. All that submittal is complete and approved. Have not received any application for phase 3, and phase 2 is still under review.
All right. Scott, you got any questions, Mike?
And these permits are being requested because Water Gremlin has been required to meet certain mandates that the state has imposed upon them, correct?
That's what I understand.
Steve?
Well, I guess I just really had a question for the applicant. Only this question, is that what Mike explained, if you don't mind standing up here for a minute, just acknowledge that what Mike explained as far as phase 1 goes is or is not your understanding?
Yeah, phase 1.
If you just state your name and
I'm
your...
Carl Dubois for Water Gremlin.
Okay.
So the Phase 1 is the removal of a small amount of manufacturing activity, as described by Mike Johnson. That's completely correct. It's necessary to make space for the subsequent Phase 3 renovation and expansion of the locker room.
So it's just moving an existing operation to a different location?
Correct.
Okay.
It amounts to about head count of 3 people that moved from the north building to the south building.
Okay.
Mr. Dubois, could you expand on what state entity is exactly making you do all this remodeling for the safety of the employees? Is it the Department of Labor Industries, or is it Minnesota Department of Health, or is it the MPCA? I mean, who's overseeing this or guiding this?
So it says ordered by Ramsey County District Court because of claim brought against Water Gremlin by the Minnesota Department of Health and the Department of Labor, or OSHA. And so the resolution to the complaint was the construction of permanent facilities that included shower capability as part of best-in-class lead hygiene provisions.
And are you pretty confident you can do all those temporary buildings, get it done and get them all taken down in 180 days?
Yeah, we are. We are employing a design-build contractor rather than going through a design phase and then going out for bids and picking the best bids to award construction. You know, all of that work is being done concurrently.
Because obviously the sensitivity of this, we're going to have to really be on a timetable with this thing, so.
I understand. One small change is stated in the description about Phase 2. It references showers in the temporary facilities, but there will not be a provision for showers. In fact, hand washing facilities will be sourced by potable water storage, and the gray water that results from hand washing will be captured in a portable device so it can be emptied and hauled away to be disposed of separately.
All right. Were you aware of this, Mike?
Yes, as far as the storage on site, yes.
Okay.
Tank on site, yes.
All right, any other questions of the board? All right, thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right, Mike, anything else to add?
I do not have anything else.
All right, is there anyone else that'd like to address or speak to this? Okay, hearing none, this is really no action taken, just a update, correct, Patrick?
Yep. Thanks, folks.
All right, thanks, Mike, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, item 7, public hearing, we have none, so we'll move to new business. Item A is ordinance number 33, sign ordinance amendment. I believe, Tom, are you gonna do this?
I will do that. Photo of the town's zoning map, that portion nearest I-35E, which is right here. The town offices are right here. Tamarack Nature Center, you can see right here. This is Polar Lakes Park in this location right here. Dashed line represents a zoning district defined as the town's sign overlay zoning district, and that was created in 2004. Town was working with Nagley, who became Clear Channel Media, considering putting some outdoor advertising signs in Polar Lakes Park, leasing space to the sign holder, provide some income to help us develop the park. So that was done in 2004. There's 2 signs located in the park, here, down here, and then also 1 sign located on the Comstock property south. These are properties that are zoned industrial, required to be industrial to allow an outdoor advertising sign. They're also one of the town requirements. Some amendments were taken, the sign ordinance was amended to accommodate these signs, again, back in 2004. Signs have to be in an industrial district, and they can't be located across the freeway from a low-density residential district. So, based on the requirements, really identified that only outdoor advertising signs could be located in this portion of the town, right here. Again, 2004, contract and lease was signed with Clear Channel, 15-year lease. That lease is coming up for expiration, and they are requesting approval of a new 20-year permit, which would allow them to retain the boards in Polar Lakes Park. They are currently static boards, meaning they're billboards posted on a signpost. You can see some of the trends now are to go with the electronic boards, and Clear Channel would like to put an electronic board, the northerlymost board in Polar Lakes Park. They'd like to convert that from a static sign to a digital type sign. The signs that they're looking at for digital, they don't change messages on the sign. What they do is the sign face changes once every 8 seconds. A total of 8 different ads on there. Currently, the town sign ordinance limits sign message changes or sign changes to no more than once every 30 seconds. In order to make the change, they are requesting approval of an amendment to the sign ordinance that would permit that 30-second interval to change to 8-second intervals. In addition to that, that requires several changes to the sign ordinance, specifically section 3-16.7 of the ordinance would be modified to read, off-premise advertising signs are permitted to have a digital display. The sign face shall not change more than once every 30 seconds. No video or word changes may take place during the 8-second interval. Also an amendment to section 4-1.4, changing the interval from 30 down to 8 seconds. Planning Commission has been reviewing this proposal and the amendment to the sign ordinance over the past couple of meetings. As a unit, they did not support changes to the ordinance or the amendment there, but they did mention that if the town were to support changes to the sign ordinance, that the town should also consider the display intensity. In other words, the brightness of the sign. These things are now designed so during the day they're at one light elevation, that's not the right word, but one light intensity. At night, it's a different light intensity. So working again with Clear Channel to see if they had model wording, put together some wording that was added to your supplemental packet tonight, and that would be sections 3-16.8, 3-16.9, and 3-16.10. So those would be, if the town is to support the amendments to the sign ordinance, it would be recommended that those sections also be added to the amendments. So it's a total of 5 amendments being requested. Section 4-1.4, and then adding sections 3-16.7, 8, 9, and 10.
Tom, this amendment for this section, this only applies to billboards?
Yes.
So, I mean, a display in auto or some other sort of parking lot, this wouldn't apply, correct?
Yeah, this is a section in the ordinance that deals specifically with outdoor advertising signs. The quote-unquote billboards is how they're more commonly referred to.
All right, Scott, any questions?
The fact that they wanted to go from 30 seconds to 8 seconds, and we've only got really that one, we're only looking at the one sign in the hour area, how does that compare with other electronic signs up and down the freeway? Is 8 seconds within the standard, or is this really fast, or?
No, that would be, I'd say, the norm. MnDOT, who controls the rights-of-way, allows 6 seconds. But Clear Channel likes to do 8 seconds. That's pretty much metro-wide. It's my understanding during the presentation that the city of St. Paul required something different. They allow them to change once every 12 seconds rather than 8 seconds. So pretty standard.
The same thing with the intensity, the fact that they're changing that at night is going to be more, it's not more in line, but is that anything out of the ordinary?
Again, it's pretty consistent. Most of the boards around town are Clear Channel, and I believe those are their statistics.
Okay.
Matthew Weiland with Clear Channel may have some additional input, though, if you
Oh, all right.
direct a question towards him.
Anything else?
No.
Steve?
No, I heard the presentation in the Planning Commission meeting, so I think it'd be best to have a little conversation first before I have anything more to add to it.
All right, well, I just have one question. Tom, is there any alterations or changes needed to the actual billboard to accept this?
Not so much the structure itself, slight changes, but
Just some wiring?
yeah, Matt has.
Just introduce yourself and
Certainly. Good morning, Chair, Town Board. My name is Matthew Wan. I'm with Clear Channel Outdoor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. We've certainly appreciated the long-term partnership we have here and love to continue that and think this is a real win-win way to do that. As far as your question on the structure, we've done some preliminary analysis. You know, they're pretty good, or they're detailed structures now with the facades that are on them, so we want to keep that as much as we can. We do think there'll be minor alterations required from a structural analysis. There'll be what we would call a kicker bar probably installed that goes from the crossbeam back down to the column. But for the most part, they're not going to look that much different. We think we need to complete our analysis. I mean, we take this very seriously on how we structure these, the engineering on them, but they'll look pretty much the same. You may see one more piece of steel going from the crossbeam to the columns about
the
it.
actual physical size of the sign doesn't change?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, same size, same height, everything, orientation, everything stays the same.
And you have all the wiring and power that you need there, nothing changes?
Yes.
With the lighting, obviously, it's got, I don't remember if it had uplighting. Does that just go away then, obviously?
Yes, yep, the lighting or the uplights on that side would, or both sides would go away, yes.
And with doing this, does that increase or decrease maintenance to the sign?
It's just different kind of maintenance. Hopefully it's less maintenance right now. We have crews go out every month to go up the sign and change the face on it. As long as the sign's operating correctly and the computers are operating correctly, you may still get out there every couple months instead of every month. But yes, the maintenance, it's just different kinds of maintenance. Now it's computer maintenance.
Well, I'm
and
curious,
boards.
because of all the messages you can show on this thing, do you have to physically go to the site to change them, or can you do that?
Excellent question. No, that's all done remotely.
Okay. All right, Steve, you got
I was
anything?
going to say, and at the same time, if it malfunctions, you do it remotely? Because there currently is one south of, it's not one of yours, and it's been flittering like that for like weeks, where they didn't shut it off. And, that's like changing every millisecond, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But that's all done remotely, and you would get, obviously, you'd probably get some notice that it's not functioning properly, correct?
Thanks for the question. Yes, Supervisor, you are correct. As I demonstrated, or I presented in the meeting, we have webcams that actually look at the signs. We're constantly monitoring them, not only to make sure the messagings are going like they're supposed to, but the signs are operating correctly, and they can be shut off remotely. We can connect to them by cellular service. So yes, they can be shut off remotely. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, some of that language I sent you says if we're notified, if we don't notice it, if we're notified that they're malfunctioning in any way, we're required to shut them off within so much time. But we take that very seriously in our business. Obviously, we want these to be operating safely so we can continue to operate.
So talk for a minute about the safety aspects that you told the planning commission about, that the billboards would be for public service.
Certainly. One of the things we offer the communities we're in, and it's in the proposal we have before you tonight, or hopefully before you on our lease, is we provide cities, in this case, up to 20 hours of community service for whatever community events you choose, whether it's your town meetings, whether it's your festivals.
Is that 20 hours a month?
Yes, sorry, 20 hours per face per month.
Okay.
And your messages get rotated into the same messages we have, and that's every city we're in. You'll see stuff up and down between Shoreview and Venice Heights and Burns Blaine, all those communities. In addition to what we do for the communities we're in, we're huge partners with law enforcement and public safety. We do big things for them, like our Amber Alerts, where people have kids in cars. We can get that message out right away. We do stuff with the FBI and the fugitives most wanted. We do a lot for Ramsey County Sheriff and Hennepin County Sheriff. Their stuff is more just public education. I think Ramsey County's doing stuff right now on just drive safely, slow down, bus safety. We partner with Ramsey County on weather warnings. It's a big issue right now with people in their cars that don't listen to the radios anymore. They're listening to podcasts or satellite or other things, and it's important for weather warnings, especially severe weather warnings. That stuff we put up on our signs. So that's stuff we do in addition to the public messaging that we offer the communities that we're in.
So do you also are in connection with MnDOT then, say a crash up north, would that sign actually help drivers display that or not?
Not usually. If they asked us to, we probably would. I mean, there's like statute stuff that says, we can't do anything traffic related unless we're asked to.
Okay.
One example where we did, an unfortunate incident was the 35W bridge. And that was something they asked us, and we immediately got information up for them when that 35W bridge collapsed. But other than that, not normally unless they specifically asked us to. We did do something, it wasn't a crash, but when they were doing road construction, they asked us to post stuff about, I think it was a long-term exit that was being closed.
If you've got a sign facing south, the same message faces north?
Nope, they're two different.
They're all different, okay.
Yep.
Got anything else? Steve? All right, thank you.
I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Tom, you have anything else to add? No. I understand we have a resident that'd like to speak to this. Just state your name and address for the record.
I'm Ralph Tillma, Tillma. I live at 4294 Oakmead Lane in White Bear Township.
Okay.
I'm here to vote no on the digitized electronic billboard, period. It's a distraction to drivers, especially when they change every 8 or 12 seconds. It's a huge distraction. And that seems completely undesirable in a state that's currently working on trying to eliminate distracted driving. I mean, now we can't use a cell phone, we can't use a text at all in the car, but we can stare out the window at a billboard that changes in your face with bright lights every 8 seconds. The financial benefit to the township residents is negligent, or it's very small. It's not going to reduce my property tax or even my sewer bill, so it's pretty small. Adding more light pollution seems crazy, even stupid, in a state that holds itself out as a tourist mecca. Interstate 35 is a billboard alley today. What we see at night is like watching a movie. It's just one lit billboard after another, almost all the way to Hinckley. It kind of thins out a little bit after that, but more is coming. New York State is my home state. New York has a billboard setback law. You cannot put up any kind of billboard within an interstate highway in the state of New York that is closer than 1,000 feet to the interstate. That was a very clever thing to do because the billboards have to be very large to be seen from 1,000 feet from the interstate. And also, they aren't lighted because they have to be very bright, and the local residents don't like that, so most of them are not lighted. The difference between Minnesota and New York State is dramatic as far as driving down the interstate highways. Interstate 88 has an outstanding landscape and has won awards for scenic beauty. How many interstates in Minnesota have won an award for scenic beauty? Only Highway 61, and that's in danger too. If we absolutely must have this billboard, the change should be not more than 30 seconds, and ideally it should be less to cut down on this distraction. Finally, billboards are mostly for one purpose and one person only, and that's to benefit Clear Channel. They're the ones that get all the benefit out of this, not the township, not the state, not the motorists who have to look at these things. It's Clear Channel. So the board is working in conjunction with Clear Channel to increase their income. That's what this amounts to, really, when you think about it. It's working in conjunction with Clear Channel to help their bottom line. That's basically what's behind this. Finally, he says there's public service benefits to this. Well, that was brought up when the city of St. Paul tried to outline these things. And Clear Channel and Outfront kept saying there would be a lot of private public service messages. Well, once this thing got passed, these private service messages declined dramatically. There are 6 digitized billboards in Vadnais Heights. If we need a public service message, let them put them on the 6 that are already there. We don't need another one right up here. They can look at it 6 times down there and more elsewhere. So I'm asking you, I don't really think that we have the time now or can change all this to stop this, but at least limit the amount of changes these things are going to have. I really think that digit billboards are a huge distraction and an eyesore. That's about all I have.
All right, Steve, you have any comments?
You know, I guess, no, I'll pause on my comments for now. So.
No.
All right, well, we thank you for your concern. I wasn't a big proponent of this until I did see the public service aspect of the thing. But I was going to ask you, Tom, that 8 seconds must have something to do with going down the road at 70 miles an hour. You're only going to see probably one ad, right? It's at that area, about the time that one's up, you're gone before the next one comes around.
But they change.
That may be true, but as you're going down the road, you're not going to see 15 of them. You're only going to see one.
But you're going to see a change. The likelihood of a motor seeing a change right in front of them is
Oh, that's
increased
that's very possible.
a lot every 8 seconds.
You want to address it?
If I could address your question.
I don't want to make this too big of a debate, so.
No, I just want to clarify, you are absolutely correct. That's exactly how the Federal Highway Administration approved digital signage, is that generally going at, I think theirs is based on 55, that's why they get to 60-mile or 6-second flips. You're probably only going to see one sign that they operate as a static sign. There are requirements also that they change instantaneously. It's hard to even notice. So all that's taken into account to make sure that they're operating safely.
Well, I was more concerned too about the brightness. I mean, I see the ones in Forest Lake and they look way brighter than they should be. I mean, those things are very distractive. But I have also seen the ones in Vadnais Heights that don't look the same. So I don't know what the comparisons are, but this board usually relies on our advisory committees. Planning Commission was kind of split on this. I mean, obviously, I know there was a couple members missing at the time. But Steve, your overall...
The overall consensus was that, you know, we've done a good job of isolating billboards within our township. It's in an industrial area, as we say. So it has very minimal, if any, impact on residents as far as lighting pollution at night, other than people going up and down the freeway. And philosophically, I'm not a huge advocate for billboards, but given the fact that we have them isolated where they are, and they do provide revenue to the township, as might not think so, but it does. It helps beautify our parks. The money is put to good use. It's not, and it does help a little bit. Is it going to offset your taxes? Probably not, but it is revenue for us also. And I'm not out here advocating billboards up and down the entire, from County Road J down to where the township ends and say, let's just pack them full of billboards. I'm also happy that they're not asking for 2. I mean, they are close together, and 2 wouldn't probably make a lot of sense, but one's enough, so.
No, you better put that in your ordinance, because they'll be back
Well-
in 10 years, the other one.
Well, we review every one on its own merit, so
But it's a 20-year lease, so it's not changing. At least unless I can't read a contract, but 20 years before they're back.
Whether the 20 years include stipulations
into.
No, this is just for that one individual billboard.
Okay.
That lease is just for that
But we
one.
have two others out here.
Correct.
So is there something in the ordinance or plan that would specifically state that Outfront or Clear Channel, or whoever they are, cannot add additional digitized billboards in White Bear Township?
That would be addressed when they come and apply for another permit to alter another billboard.
No, put it in there now, right
What-
now.
It's, until we could be making ordinances to preempt 1,000 things, and we'd be overcome by trying to modify all the ordinances. We take them one at a time when they come. Tom, you got anything else?
I don't know.
All right, we're looking for a motion for an amendment to the sign ordinance number 33.
Take them in sections.
I was going to say, do we, since there was additions, do you need to have more than one?
Tom, how do you want to handle it?
I think he said
Well,
5
you're looking at
motions.
5 different amendments or additions to the ordinance, specifically one amendment to section 4-1.4, and then you're adding sections 3-16.7 through .8, .9, and .10.
Mr. Chair, you should do this one at a time.
You got that, Steve?
Yeah. Yes. I'll move to amend section 4.1.4 from, if you want me to read the whole thing, or just say that change it from every 30 seconds to 8 seconds. Not more than.
I don't think it's necessary to go through, I mean, we're referring them to this supplement, so I don't think we have to read them all, do we, Chad?
No, just refer to
Just
the
the ordinance
language
number.
that was submitted to you.
Yeah, so I move to change the 4.1.4 from 30 seconds to 8 seconds.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed? That motion carries.
Then we'll take 3-16.7, move to, that's just an addition, is it?
Correct.
We're just going to add that to the ordinance, section 1 amendments of ordinance number 33.
and I'll second that.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries.
Under section 1 amendments, 3-16.8, I'll move to add that to the ordinance.
And second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And move to approve the addition of, in section 1 amendments of the sign ordinance to 3-16.9.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And I'll also move to add under section 1 amendments 3-16.10 to the sign ordinance.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that cover it, Tom?
That's it, thank you.
All right, we do appreciate your input, sir. All right, moving on. Item 8B, Cub Foods is a request to renew their permitted use standards permit to sell Christmas trees.
A little late this year, but their lease just expired with Cub Foods, so they're asking the town to review and approve a new permitted use standards permit. PQT Corporation, which is part of Rum River Nurseries, has run the tree nursery from Cub Foods parking lot in this area for the past 3 years under a lease with Cub Foods. Prior to that, they were located across Highway 96 here in the city of Adnes Heights at the PDQ. And when that site redeveloped, they found a new location at Cub Foods. So it's been in place there for the last 3 years. The town issued the permitted use standards permit to allow it in the location there just for a 3-year period. So they're requesting the town to renew for a period to be determined of a new permitted use standards permit. So specifically, this area is a drive lane, which is blocked off, and there's 11 parking stalls that are blocked off. So that would be the location of the tree lot right there. So during a fairly busy time of year, the holiday season, grocery stores are always busy, including Cub. We have not received any complaints relative to lack of parking, circulation issues, so it seems to be a fairly good use for that part of the lot during that time of year. The Planning Commission reviewed this permitted use standards permit at their January meeting. They did recommend approval, subject to a couple of requirements. First of all, it would be a 5-year permitted use permit. Time frame is recommended. Sales are only allowed in November and December. Items and trees for sale must be neatly stacked and displayed, and an annual fire inspection would be required before they could open up the lot. So those were the recommendations of the Planning Commission for approval of the permitted use standards permit.
Questions, comments?
Well, I had, my question, first question I asked, who is the applicant?
It's a combo, Cub Foods and PQT is the name of the company that runs the tree sales, but they have to get permission from Cub.
Yeah, they get it from Cub, but to asking for this permit, is it not Cub?
It is Cub, yeah.
Okay, so on our packet, it has Cub crossed out and has PQD company in it. Is that not correct, or is that?
Well,
It really should be corrected,
PQT was the payer of the
Yes.
permit.
but
But they're not our,
you're correct. The applicant should actually be Cub and PQT,
yeah, so that's.
because the landowner should be applying as well.
Okay, and Cub was on the application form. I changed it noting that it was PQT, but it's, you know, it's.
I mean, I understand that the reason, but yeah, they should both have, the landowner has to sign off on the application. And I believe they did, didn't they? I saw their signature on it somewhere.
I think it's been a good addition to the Cub area for, just like their sales in the springtime for flowers and things. But I also know that it has been cleaned up afterwards very nicely, and I know the Planning Commission recommended to extend it for 5 years as a general statement. So I'll just.
Chad, is there an issue there if both are listed under the permit, and if the permitted use standards permit, does it go void if they change suppliers? Because now you would have a new partner with Cub.
I think you would just reapply.
They'd have to reapply. I mean, it's, Chair, you're right. Chair, you're correct that they're both applicants, so if one of them changes, then the new one would have to come in and reapply.
All right, so this 5-year permitted use standards permit would be suspended if one of the two parties changes?
Yeah, subject
Yes.
to renewal.
All right.
Exactly.
Any other questions? No. All right, hearing none, I would be looking for a motion to approve.
Well, based on the Planning Commission and staff review and recommendations, approve the renewal of the permitted use permit for Cub Foods. And do you want to add the other name on there at the same time?
Yeah, I think
We
you
should.
should.
You
Okay,
should.
And PQD at 1059 Meadowlands Drive to allow for Christmas tree lot from November 15th, 2020 through December 31st, 2025.
All right, do I have a motion on the second?
Excuse me, before you make, I believe it's PQT, isn't it?
What did I say?
You're trying to mind your PDQs by saying PQT,
Yeah.
and it's PQT.
It's PQT. Yes, you are correct.
All right, you get that, Megan?
Of course she did.
That's because it was at the formerly PDQ site.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Yes, all right.
I'll second that.
Are you sure? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, that motion carries. Item 8C, we have our 2020 seal coat project. Larry or is it Patrick? Which one
Well,
you guys
Mr.
do?
Chair, Dale was going to present this, but he has entrusted me, which was very foolish. So don't ask me anything about the specifications part of it. What I can tell you is that the project has been budgeted, and it is part of our ongoing street maintenance project to extend the life of our streets within the township. And actually, we are looking to come under budget with this project.
Well, we have 150,000 budgeted.
Yep.
Dale's thinking it's gonna come in around 120 with,
19 grand and,
and 25 in crack sealing. So is he still pretty comfortable with that?
very, we spoke about it today.
Larry, does he talk to you about that when he runs those numbers? Does he use history from the town and previous bidding?
Yeah, I believe he does a seal coat project every year, so I think he has a pretty good handle on it. I believe the specifications are very similar to the previous years, year after year he does this. So I think he has a pretty good handle on where he thinks it's going to land, and I think he has contingency if it doesn't bid out the way he thinks to reduce some of the scope.
And this seal coating is within our overall pavement management to keep the upkeep of the different streets through their,
Yeah, this is more of the operations
Operations part of it, yep.
side of things, but it does seal up the surface.
well, what I mean is, we've got ideally a 50-year
Yep.
time frame, and you do certain things at
Yep.
certain points. This is one of those,
This is one of
correct?
those,
This is
yep.
like
Crack sealing,
changing the
seal coating,
oil
yep.
or whatever in the car to make sure that it keeps going. So those streets that would benefit most from having this done are included. I'm not saying that right. In the overall pavement management life cycle, you identified streets that had certain characteristics, rated them on a scale of 1 to 5.
Yes.
These streets are not all 5s.
No.
Or 1s even.
No.
These are benefiting the most from their own point in the life cycle to keep them going longer.
Exactly. They're in the range from the 2.5 up to 4.5 in range, and it does extend that life before they. We'd have to do the next step is a mill and overlay, or ultimately a reconstruction.
I was asking because I noticed some of them were throughout the different neighborhoods. They stopped right by certain streets, didn't keep going, they went other ways. So I'm assuming that those different streets had different ratings.
Or they had a seal coat last year,
Okay,
or
that too.
a closer time frame. And you can only, that surface can only accept so many seal coats before it needs to do a larger improvement.
Okay.
When would this go out for bids? Any idea? Would it
Bid
immediately? or-
opening is, for this one,
In there?
I think it's in the
It's the end of the
packet.
month.
So February 27th,
Yeah.
one.
All work should be completed before August 1st of 2020, so it's got to go out.
February 27th.
Okay.
Target start date is July 6th.
Any other questions or comments? You want to handle this as two motions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What's the board's pleasure?
I will move, based on Public Works Director review and recommendation, approve the 2020 seal coat specifications. Is that the first part?
Yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries.
And based on Public Works Director review and recommendation, authorize bidding with funding from the Improvement Fund 505.
Second on the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Good job, Dale. All right, moving on. Item 8D. We have improvement 2020-2 for our water system. Larry, you going to take this one?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and Board. For the past year, a little over a year, the Township has been managing our manganese levels by blending its water to manage the manganese. Manganese is a natural occurring mineral in the water system, and the health-based guidance changed recently, that we've had to do some blending of the water to stay under the guidance level. We've been talking about this for a year, about ways we could minimize the operation, the resources needed to blend the water and automate. And tonight, before you, we have plans and specifications for doing some improvements to our water system to be better able to blend that water. The improvements would be at well 4 and well 5, and it includes controls, as well as upgrading a pump at one of our larger, or one of our wells that has less manganese, and increasing that capacity of that well to be able to blend the water better. So I know you've seen this before you many times, so tonight we're looking at approval of the plans and specifications and authorizing the bidding for these water system improvements. We're looking to open bids February 26th and then bring those bids back to you at the March 2nd meeting. We want to get the improvements underway in the early part of the construction season so that they can be complete before we have the summer heat where we're having higher demand on the water systems.
It's a pretty lofty goal by February 26th. Do you think you can have all the bids in by then?
Yeah, that's, we advertise it to have the bids in by the 26th.
Okay.
Yep.
I know this has been an ongoing discussion in our exec board meetings, and this is kind of our first approach to this issue because it's going to be a little expensive when we get done with all of these, but I know this is what you call phase 1.
It was the most favorable option for the cost, the best value out of the costs that we saw for the different options that we looked at.
All right, Scott, anything?
No?
Steve?
No, I think we've discussed this ad infinitum here, so.
All right, again, you want these in 2 separate motions?
Yep.
I'll move based on town engineer review and recommendation, approve the plans and specifications.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries.
I'll make a motion based on the town engineer review and recommendations to authorize the bidding of the water system improvement project with funding from the water fund.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That motion also carries. All right, item number 9. We have no added agenda items.
No, sir.
Item 10 is open time. If anyone would like to come up. No? No students want to step up? All right, seeing none. Item 11, I need a motion to receive agenda materials and supplements.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned at 7:52.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.